Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us here at Native American Fatherhood and Families Association. I just want to introduce Mr. Albert M. Pooley. He is our president and founder here at the organization, and he will be beginning his presentation on grandparents raising grandchildren.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Albert Pooley, and I'm going to be giving the presentation today. I want to welcome you all. I have a little sore throat, so you can bear with me, I hope. Grandparents raising grandchildren is a very important topic for so many agencies throughout the country because we now see so many grandparents that are raising grandchildren. But before I start my remarks, I just want to say I want to thank all of you that are involved in working with our people and for the good work that you're doing. And we do appreciate it here at this office because we know it takes a lot of work to be effective with our Native American people. I also want to say that that I look at grandparents and who are raising grandchildren and also single parents, that you are today's true heroes because it takes two adult individuals to raise a good family. And so when you're grandparents raising grandchildren, you have a lot more challenges that you normally wouldn't have as if you were younger. And if you're a single parent also, you are doing a job that requires two full adults to actually do the work, and you're doing it single-handedly. So I want to start out by saying that if you're a grandparent raising grandchildren, or if you're a single adult, I look at you as today's true heroes. Now let's start with the presentation. Grandparents raising grandchildren, or some people refer to kinship care or grand families. These are aunts and uncles and other relatives. Grandparents are anxious to help, we've found. But what motivates grandparents to take care of their grandchildren is really one of the questions we have to ask. These are some of the things that I came up with and I'm sure there's a bigger list of things that you come up with too, why are we raising our grandchildren? Why are grandparents raising grandchildren? There are a number of reasons, but one could be divorce, incarceration, or death, abandonment, drugs or alcohol, and a list of so many other things that could come into play. We are keeping our families together is the question. Can we keep our families together? And grandparents raising grandchildren are actually doing that. How many of you are grandparents raising grandchildren? You may want to pose that question. How many of you know grandparents that are raising grandchildren? I'm sure there's quite a number of people that know grandparents who are raising their who are raising their grandchildren. Now, I want to start off with this. In our program, we say this: what is the heart of our Native American people? What's the heart of our Native American culture? In our program, we say this: the family is the heart of our Native American culture. Some people think it's the language, or it's the customs, the dances, the traditions. All those are wonderful. But really, the heart of who we are as a Native people is family. What are we doing in keeping our families together? Because of that, because of the heart of our Native people is family, there is no other work more important than fatherhood and motherhood. But we say some of our greatest happiness and our greatest sorrows comes from our relationship with our family members. So let's look at these. We're going to proceed with these comments, but please try to understand how important your role as a father or mother is now as grandparents, because the heart of who we are as Native people is family. I also pose the question: what happens to someone when their heart stops beating? When your heart stops beating, you're dead. We die. When our families are broken up and scattered, that's one of the quickest ways to kill our culture. And so as parents, we're going to have to really understand the critical role we have in keeping and raising our children. Um, Now, as a therapist, I used to be a therapist for years, and I would, when somebody would come in to see me, one of the first things I would do is try to determine what is the purpose of your visit. Is it to, let's say, is it to get a divorce? Is it to get a certain kind of help? Is it to try to work relationships out? What's the purpose of your visit? That's the same thing we say here. Let's look at what's the purpose of our lives. In our program, we say the purpose of life is to have a happy and safe family. Not just to have a family. Anybody can have a family. We want our families to truly be happy and safe. That's the real purpose of life. What that does for us is that it can wrap around our arms around a purpose. Because many times people have a purpose that is many times unrealistic. This one is really workable. It depends upon us. So to go forward, I want to look at what is the purpose of our life. So just keep in mind is to have a happy and safe family. Today, many children are walking a dangerous path. Grandparents are often the key to keeping families together, safe and happy. They are raising a second family unplanned. This is really common because when you're grandparents, when you raise your children, you never think when you're younger that I may have to be raising my grandchildren. And sometimes this is thrown upon grandparents, and so raising a second family may go unplanned. Because of that, many new questions may arise from that, like such as the legal system, the grandparents' rights. We could probably spend time on this one. We don't have time to go into that. But what are the rights of the grandparents? When you have to deal with CPS or DCS, custody, dealing with custody, visitations, jurisdictions, these are real questions that sometimes frighten grandparents. What do we do with these? Dealing with education, because now you have a lot of technology that many times grandparents don't understand the technology involved in raising their grandchildren. You have special needs children, learning disabilities, handicaps, things like this grandparents now have to deal with. Also public assistance, financial assistance, TANF, WIC, and other things. There's a lot of questions that go through a grandparent's mind. Now, this can pose new and real problems due to one's age, one's health, one's housing, transportation issues, limited income, limited education and technical skills. These can pose real challenges and questions to the grandparents that I think that we need to consider, because maybe our house may not be big enough. Something as simple as that can really cause a problem. Transportation, can I drive? Maybe some people are limited in driving. There's so many things that these are just some issues that I want to highlight that grandparents now have to deal with that they normally would not have to deal with if they didn't have their grandchildren. You also have new responsibilities can be frightening, even scary. For an example, difficult to understand fully the work required due to past emotional and behavioral concerns of the children. These are some things they have to work for, some of the things that were unexpected. Extended family relationship can pose a lot of questions like, are they positive or are they negative? Because as you know, negative family interactions can pose a lot of questions, particularly when there's a divorce going through. It can cause a lot of questions and a lot of concerns that are now fronted by the grandparents. These are just some things that I want you, we're going kind of through this kind of rapidly, but these are some things that you need to kind of look out for. If some of you would like this PowerPoint, we can also send it to you. So I'd like to also invite you to ask questions, but you're going to have to write your questions down at the end of this presentation. So, but you can have access to this PowerPoint if you so desire. These are some barriers that you may be experiencing as grandparents: loneliness, crying. I found, and throughout my years of working, that when somebody is really lonely, they do things that they normally would never do. because loneliness is a powerful drive that creates all kinds of issues. Things like, and then what if a child is going through a process of depression? These can be barriers. A big one is feeling unloved and unwanted. Unloved is perhaps one of the most dangerous things you could experience when the child thinks that they are unloved. The children are confused. Why am I in a situation like this? Fear comes in. In fact, we found out that when somebody is very fearful, it really limits what they are able to learn. It really limits your ability to learn. Fear, all these things limit your ability to learn. Your identity, particularly if there's a child comes from a mixed race or else from different tribes. What's my identity? It really causes some issues. If your skin's too fair, they may call you, your friends, relatives may make remarks because you're too fair, or if you're too dark with kinky hair. So your identity is really challenged as a young child. I wish we could spend a lot of time on this issue because it really is important. The anxiety that children feel, these are barriers. Again, the anger you have to deal with, anger. I am actually writing another manual right now. I should be through with it in the next month or so, dealing with anger, dealing mainly with abuse and violence. And I like to pose the question like, what really causes anger? I tell most people that, most people are not sick. They're not broken. What has happened to most of the people that have a lot of problems is that the first thing that sets in is that you have been hurt. People have been hurt. If you don't take care of the hurt at that level, at that primary level, it quickly escalates to anger. If you don't take care of it at the anger level, it quickly goes to resentment. I don't want to talk to you. Don't tell me what to do. Just leave me alone. Don't even touch me, kind of thing. If you don't take care of it at the resentment, it quickly goes to, it quickly turns to revenge and also hatred. These are some things that you have to look at, because anger is a real issue, but I think it can be dealt with. Feeling of rejection when you've been rejected, that really hurts right to the bone. Lack of self-confidence. These are some barriers, like I said, that really hit the children when they have to be placed in any kind of situation outside the family. Rebellion is a big one, because when I look at rebellion, it tells me that like, you're wrong, I don't have to listen to you, you're wrong, whether you're the grandparents or not. Rebellion is a big thing that we need to get into. Self-worth. What is my self-worth? And it's one that we have to look at. Okay, the next one here is what we're doing today is that a lot of our great Native American cultures are quickly turning into cultures of rejection. These are things that happen when people are rejected. They like to blame, they like to criticize, lying, deception, disobedience, loss of trust and confidence, finding fault, and there's a lot of drama that takes place. So if we come from a culture of rejection, when we have been rejected, these are some of the common characteristics that do come into play. And if we are not careful, our great native cultures will turn into cultures of rejection, because now so many of our kids are being placed outside of the home. So these are some things that we want to be sensitive to, because our great cultures, native cultures, can turn into these things, and these are some of the things that will happen. Next one here. Let's just look at someone being rejected. This is something to look at. When you're rejected, people are not able to connect, and this is critical. I always talk to the parents. I say, remember when you were going with your boyfriend or girlfriend, how did you fall in love with people? The reason why you fell in love was because you were able to connect with each other. It was a lovely feeling because you connected on so many levels. And many times when people get married, they start to disconnect because they're not paying attention to each other's needs. When children are involved and parents have to give up their children for various reasons, the children many times feel very disconnected. And so even though they may know they're loved, they can still feel disconnected. Like I have known people that can be around family and friends and still not feel connected. They still feel rejected in some fashion. They're feeling like I am unlovable and I am unloved. Even feeling like I'm not likable. I forgot to put that up here. Feeling unlikable, unlovable, and unloved. These are really harsh feelings of rejection that people many times do not consider. So another one is looking for someone or something to take over their lives. When you feel rejected, you really look for someone or something to take over your life, whether you know it or not, whether you understand it. Another thing when you go through this experience of rejection is emotional instability. You know, many times you don't know who you can trust, who you can talk to, who's your friends. There's so many things. Emotional instability is critical. You also have runaways because you feel rejected. Runaway comes easier. Rebellion, like I said, is like it's like there's really nothing wrong with me, but there's something wrong with you. So you rebel against because there's so much disconnect there. And I say nonverbal rejection and verbal rejection are the same. They both hurt. So we need as workers and as parents and as grandparents, we need to do everything we can to connect with our children, with our grandchildren, because rejection is very critical. Many have come from families with violence or abuse. And these are some of the characteristics that take place. And I say violence and abuse. If a child comes from a background with violence and abuse, violence and abuse cheats and robs you and your loved ones. That's what it really does. It really robs you of so many things. Cheating, violence points loved ones in the wrong direction. That's what violence and abuse does. It also leads others to feel unwanted and left out. Okay, the other thing violence and abuse does, loss of trust and confidence in self and others. This is important. As workers, we always want to build we try a lot of times to develop a trust level. But sometimes we don't look at the confidence. Do we follow through with our own commitments? Because the children can detect this very quickly. So violence and abuse we do lose trust and confidence in ourselves and in others. Loss of love towards others. It's hard to love other people sometimes when you have been coming from a background of violence and abuse. Loss of love towards others. Addiction. I just say that addiction really is a curse. That's all I can say about it. It's a curse to a person. It really does. It really is a curse. It is the beginning of their destruction, along with their families and friends. It leads loved ones from one type of misery to another. Addiction does that. And so we could spend a lot of time on addictions, but again, we don't have time to. Addictions will rob your desire to choose. Now, some of you may be aware of our program. We say one of the second greatest gift you have is the right to choose. In our program, we say, let's back up some more. In our program, we say the greatest gift you have is life, is your life itself. Learn to value your own life. The second greatest gift you have is the right to choose. Because when that right of choice is taken from you, you will never really know true happiness. You will become a victim of power, manipulation, and control. You will never really grow, develop, and progress like you should. And the list goes on and on. We want people to really understand the value of choosing for yourself. But addiction robs your desire to choose. I think we're one of the very few, the only program that really says this. because when you become addicted, you lose your desire to even choose. That whatever you're addicted to chooses for you. How scary is that? Addiction, also living a life of drama, feeling of being alone and rejected. That's what addiction causes, and the kids pick it right up, living a life of drama. Now, responsibilities in strengthening the families. I'm telling the grandparents this and the parents this. Never question or doubt the importance of raising your grandchildren, because sometimes it's very easy for grandparents to begin to question, why am I even doing this? Why should I do this? Never question or doubt, grandparents, the importance of raising your grandchildren. I would really stress that find joy and happiness in your work, because it's critical in raising your children, your grandchildren. We would also tell the grandparents, teach the grandchildren good principles. It will help children stay strong. What I mean by principles is this. Principles don't change. They're consistent. And so a child, when they learn good principle, it carries them right through adulthood. Next one, choose to love and serve your families always. Grandparents and parents, choose to love and serve your family always. That's a choice that I want you to understand is so important. Looking at the responsibilities, continue with that. Teach children to love the truth. Why is that so important? Because many times our communities, our families are filled with so much gossip, rumors, and lies and deception that it just pulls people away. We want to teach our children to love the truth. For an example, I always give this example. If you were taught 2 and 2 equals 3, and 3 and 3 equals 5, and you really believe it to be true, you have limited yourself tremendously. You will never be a banker. You'll never be an accountant. You'll never even be able to balance your own checkbook. You have to learn the truth of mathematics to function well in this world. Likewise, learn the truth about the people around you. If you just learn untruths, gossip, rumors, and lies about other people, you'll never truly get to know them. Grandparents, you must take the responsibility of teaching your children to love the truth, because that's going to be a very, very important ingredient in like someone's recovery on anything. Another one, keep promises and commitments, grandparents and parents. Keep promises and commitments you have made, because kids can detect hypocrisy so quickly. When somebody breaks their promises, it really hurts the children and hurts anybody when people don't keep their promises. That's how we define character in our program. We say, if you really want to develop a strong character, it boils right down to keeping your promises or keeping your word. That really belongs to us as Native people. Another one, teach children about the Creator and the importance and the power of prayer. Why? What we learn in the home will last for a long, long time. Now, Native people, we tell in our program that our people across this country, I work with over 400 tribes throughout my career, and every tribe I have visited and worked with, they all believe in the Creator. They all believe in the power of prayer. Now, we have some people today maybe that don't believe this way, but if you're looking at the traditional Native people, we are a praying people. Most of our songs are prayers. Most of our dances are prayers. We pray we pray over a lot of things. That's why I'm telling you, teach children, grandchildren about the Creator and the importance and the power of prayer. Why? This is the key thing. Why? What they learn in the home will last the longest. Express another one, next point. Express your love and appreciation. Express your love and appreciation daily. Not just occasionally, but I want to really encourage grandparents to express their love and appreciation daily. Why I say this, because I've learned that also a lot of people growing up that I've worked with over the years, have never heard from their own parents the words, I love you, or I appreciate what you've done for me. People need to hear those things, particularly children. So I would really encourage grandparents, and I'm sure a lot of them do this daily. Don't do it occasionally, do it daily. Express your love and appreciation for them every single day, if not 2 or 3 times a day. They will absorb this and become very powerful to these children. Because particularly they may be questioning, why is my mom and dad not taking care of me? Spend time with them. Make as much time as possible available to your children, because people like to be, when you spend time with them, they see how important they really are. So if you can spend as much time with your grandchildren, they will love it. Another point here, another one, some more things. Share your thoughts, your feeling, and your life experiences. It will help strengthen the children. Now, what I mean by that is this, that when you talk about things that maybe you have experienced, it really brings it down to a level where the kids can really feel maybe some of your pain, some of your happiness, some of your fears, and they can see, hey, my grandparents went through the same thing I'm going through. So share your thoughts, your feelings, and your life experiences with your grandkids. It begins to bond people together. Now, don't glorify your experience. Be honest and truthful about your experience. Another point, look for opportunities to teach about challenges and how to solve problems. Why? Because in our program we say this, all life is, every day of your life, you're going to have to solve problems. Every hour of your life, you're going to have to solve problems. Little problems like, where's the bathroom? Or I got a flat tire, or I'm hurt. Whatever it may be, all life is, every day of your life, you're going to have to solve problems. We always remind people, once you stop solving problems, the moment you stop solving problems is the instant you now become the problem. So you teach the children the importance of solving problems, particularly with each other as siblings. If you teach the children to solve problems between each other, you know what you're doing as grandparents or as parents? You're only ensuring that your kids will remain close into adulthood. Because when they grow up, they bring strangers into the family. Like they get married, they have other friends, they have in-laws, and sometimes in-laws and spouses can cause problems. But if children have learned how to solve problems as they were growing up, when they get into adulthood, they'll be able to solve those problems when they bring new people into the family. So really encourage children, talk to children about learning the challenges and how to solve problems. Okay, and really that comes by listening, talking, asking the right questions, and also observation. The importance of observing is really important. Be good and set good examples. Why? Because kids see you as walking, talking, real examples of your values and of your beliefs. Kids can detect this so easily. So I really encourage people to stand on their own goodness. You have to become a good man and a good woman, because children are always observing you. Others are observing you, but more particularly the children. They see you as real walking and talking real life examples. And so some people say one thing, but they do just the opposite. We need to be examples to our grandchildren. Continuing with this, teach children to become self-reliant, the ability to care for themselves. A lot of parents, unfortunately, don't teach their children the importance of working or studying as they should. They should be more diligent in this, because teaching your children to be self-reliant, so they're not relying upon anybody else but themselves. And so teaching that is a very, very good virtue to teach. Teach children to develop good work and study habits. They go hand in hand together with this. Teach children to be thrifty and planning for the future. Because some people, if we don't do that, they'll be daydreaming about things that are unrealistic. Teach them to be thrifty and also realistic in developing and planning for their future. Live a life of love and compassion. It relieves the stress and sorrow of the pain these kids may be experiencing. So when you live a life of love and compassion, people are drawn to you because they know you really care for them. And grandchildren can feel that from their grandparents or from their people who are watching over them. Learn to love them and to have compassion for what they're going through. Now this next one is a big one here. That's attitude. What kind of attitude do you carry when you're taking care of your grandchildren or your nieces or your nephews, whatever you're doing? What kind of attitude do you portray? Let me say this. There is nothing that will have greater impact on your happiness than your attitude. Not your age, not your looks, not your education, not your wealth, even your culture. There is nothing in this world that will have more direct, immediate impact on your happiness and success than your attitude. And some people carry a very bad negative attitude, even at the workplace, wherever it may be. You know, it has direct impact on your effectiveness, particularly if you're grandparents. Kids can detect, I'm not really wanted here, just from someone's attitude. So much of life depends on attitude. Let's look at the workplace. You can pick people out that have a bad attitude. You don't want to be around them. And they often wonder, what's the problem? I hate to say this, but they're the problem. Attitude is critical. Attitude determines how well you serve your family. So your attitudes as grandparents, whoever the caregiver is, determines how well you will serve the children. Your attitude may make all the difference for you and others. It's critical to always re-examine your attitude. A little bit more on attitude. A good and positive attitude is priceless. It's valuable. That's why I said it's really priceless. Why? Because it points you in the right direction in life. That's what a good attitude does. It puts and points you in the right direction of your life. A good attitude also, it softens the hurt, the sorrow, the pain, the trials and tragedies of life. That's what a good attitude does. It uplifts people. Pretending. Thoughts and attitudes reflect what a person is, not what they pretend to be. And a lot of times people pretend to be friends or understanding, but they're not. You can pick these things up. Kids can detect these things so quickly if we're pretending that we care for them and love them. They can pick it up. They can detect it as easy as eating candy. So what I'm saying is that when, as grandparents or watching the children, your attitude is critical, and it really is important. Last point here, children can feel love and sincerity. You can't fool children. They can pick it up really, really fast. Goodness. I tell this all the time. You need to stand on your own goodness. Don't stand on your culture. Don't stand on your education. Don't stand on your wealth. Don't stand on those things. They're all wonderful to have. But you need to become a good, honorable person, grandparents, because grandparents can be bad sometimes too. So we all stand on our own goodness, because when you're good, a lot of wonderful things will happen. Your good actions might be an answer to someone's prayer. And so I'm saying to people, stand on your own goodness. I want us to become good, honorable men and women, regardless of where we're at. The goodness a person has is the most important, because you know why? People are attracted to goodness. People are drawn to you when you're a good person. It brings unity between family members. That's what goodness does. It brings love and feeling of belonging to family members. It prepares you to understand others and the trials of life. When you're good to people, particularly your loved ones, your grandchildren, grandparents, is preparing you to understand others and the trials of life, because we're going to have trials. And if you're a good person, when you go through these trials, people will run to help you. They'll be anxious to help you because you're going through some tough times. When you're not good, they'll say they're just getting what they deserve. So remember, probably one of the best insurance policies you have is to become a good, honorable person. Prepare your, goodness prepares you to know the truth. Because when you're good, you want to learn the truth. Because like I said, a lot of our programs and communities are filled with so much gossip, rumors and lies that cause a lot of drama because people are not wanting to learn the truth. Okay? But your goodness will prepare you, you'll even have a desire to find the truth. Goodness brings many rewards to you, your family, and others. That's why please understand the importance of becoming a good, honorable person. Goodness brings happiness, peace, trust, and confidence. We want our grandparents to teach our grandchildren to be good people. Gratitude. Now this is important again, this one, gratitude. True gratitude, I say, when you're really grateful, true gratitude is an act of love and faith in your Creator. That's all gratitude is. You really have trust and faith in the Creator, and it's expressed through your gratitude. With gratitude, one is never hopeless. That's one thing you really need to understand. This is the truth. When you're really grateful, you are never hopeless. Have you ever worked with people or be around people that are just bitter people, that are negative about everything? These are the people that are not grateful. They think they're owed something, or they think that they're entitled to something, and they're unwilling to work for it. They're ungrateful until they lose it. And then they go crying around because they've lost it. With gratitude, one is never hopeless. Please understand the importance of that. And when you're grateful, all you are is just flat out smart. A grateful person is a smart person because people like to be around people who are grateful. Even under trials and difficult times, gratitude is critical. Now this is grandparents with couples, okay? If you're a single grandparent, but this is talking to parents, grandparents that both grandfather and grandmother are present. I say, let the children see you love, let the children see that you love one another and express love to each other. Your grandchildren need to see that. You show them love and affection to each other. Why? Because maybe they've never seen it in their own home. And they're going to see when grandparents show love and affection to each other, they're going to see that it's real, that it's not only real, but it's real in their own bloodline. It's real in their family. So when I see grandparents, I say, I even tell a grandparent or grandfather, get your wife's hand and hold it. And let your grandkids see that because they need to know that love and affection is real. And don't be embarrassed. People say, well, that's not part of our culture. I don't care about that. We want to do the best we can for our grandkids, like I said, because maybe the grandkids had never seen it in their own home. They'll just be seeing fighting and abuse and quarreling. They need to see it in their own blood. Let your home be a place of peace, of love and hope. Why? It will be a great inspiration for them of what they want in the future. And I think this is the beauty beyond what grandparents can bring. Let your home be a place of peace and love. Okay? Next point. Plant the seed of hope and confidence in your grandchildren. And that can be done in a number of ways. Like I said earlier, talk about your own life experiences. Take the time to spend with your children. But plant the seed of hope and confidence in your grandchildren. Children will learn that love is real if you do these things. They will know it's real to them. Bringing positive change. What do I mean by that? Bringing positive change. Okay, I say as Native people, we must be a forward-thinking people. What do I mean by forward-thinking? I say if you're going to be a forward-thinking person, you must put good things into your mind that motivate you and inspire you to do good. Sometimes people put negative things into their mind, and that just keeps them in that same rat race going in a circle. But if you can be a forward-thinking, we as Native people have to become a forward-thinking people. And that is putting good things into our mind that motivate and inspire us. A forward-looking people, okay? I want you to, when you look forward-looking, I want you to seeing past your problems and your imperfections. We all have problems and we all have imperfections. But if you can see past that, you become a forward-thinking, forward-looking person. Recognizing our own value and potential. Our grandchildren need to recognize their own value and potential, and grandparents, you can put it there. Forward-moving people. Letting go of things that hold us back and hold us down. Okay, a lot of times we love bad things and wrong things, but we must improve ourselves, becoming good people, good, honorable people. So we must be a forward-thinking, a forward-looking, and a forward-moving people. And I also say this, that to honor the past, we must improve upon the present. That's critical. Because what bonds, what links generations together? Really, it's this. Do we share the same vision as our forefathers? Our forefathers saw, they sacrificed, they did so many things to keep their families together. Do we share that same vision as our forefathers did? This is accomplished through strong parents and grandparents who are devoted to their families. When you're devoted to your families, you know what? You have much, much in common as your forefathers did. Because remember, they fought and sacrificed to keep their families together. Are we doing the same thing today is critical. Vision, okay? Seeing a meaningful future and working towards it. Vision brings meaning. It could be vision or purpose, brings meaning and direction to your life. It determines what is meaningful. It develops self-control and positive attitude. That's what a vision can do. The ability to focus on shaping your future. It fosters strong leadership. I like this Japanese proverb that says, vision without action is a daydream. Action without vision is a nightmare. How truthful is that? When I saw that, I had to put it in my presentation, in my books. Sacredness is a deep traditional value of Native people. And maybe some of you have heard me say this. Native people generally accept symbols of nature to be sacred, different symbols of nature to be sacred, like mountains, canyons, burial grounds, animals like eagles and things like that, buffaloes. They are indeed sacred to us, okay? As well as some items such as some traditional ceremonies. Those are indeed sacred. We don't put them down. They are indeed sacred. But you know what? We as Native people have missed the mark. We have missed the mark by identifying everything to be sacred except two of the most sacred things on earth, and that's your role as a father and your role as a mother. Now, as grandparents, if you're raising your grandchildren, your role is sacred because it is. We've been entrusted by the Creator to take and raise these children. So we've found in our program, when a parent really understands that their role is sacred, not know it, but really understand that the role is sacred, they're more motivated to change, more motivated to improve themselves because they understand the true nature of what sacredness means. Okay, let's go into acceptance. Acceptance gives a child the nurturing required to enable healthy growth and development. A child raised in an environment of acceptance and appreciation feels these things. They feel safe, they're motivated, excuse me, a sense of fairness, acceptance of rules, caring, a feeling of belonging, feeling of happiness, a personal worth, ability to recognize good and bad decisions, ability to make changes, and open to learning. These are some of the general benefits, some important benefits of when you're accepted, particularly when you feel accepted in your family or if you feel accepted by your loved ones. Kids will feel these things. Communication. A home should be a place of positive communication. But unfortunately, a lot of homes are not filled with positive communications. We have to do everything we can as parents and grandparents to bring positive communication into our homes. How you communicate reflects how you think and feel about people. And that's just as straight as forward as I can say it. It's true. How you communicate reflects how you think and feel about others. Often, this is another thing. We often communicate better with the outside world than we do with our own family. We often ask the question, just how many friends would you really have if you talk to your friends and treat your friends the same way you do your family members? A lot of people wouldn't have very many friends because they communicate better to the outside world than their own family. We got to understand it's more important to communicate, have positive communication with our family members more than the outside world. Another thing with grandparents and parents, interaction. This means being an active participant, not just watching TV together, but actually being involved in activities that there's a lot of communication with each other. Positive interaction plants love and joy deep in the hearts and minds of all family members. That's what you remember when you carry into adulthood, the things you actually did with your grandparents, with your parents and grandparents. We must invite our children to be part of our lives and teach them that they are an essential part of our success and happiness. This is really important. We need to say to our kids that you are really part of our lives. You're part of me and I'm part of you. And you're an important part to our success and happiness. And not just say it, but really mean it. And that comes out in how do we interact with our families. The connection you have with family and extended family brings a sense of security, identity, and confidence. Nurturing. I'm kind of running out of time. I think I'll say it a little faster. I'm sorry. Nurturing, we look at nurturing as it's a balance of love and discipline. Now, there is no magic formula in raising children. A lot of people think there is, but there's not. Why? Because each child is so different. You got to really each child is different. Nurturing, when you have a balance of love and discipline, nurturing brings confidence and happiness and builds stability. One point I want to make, discipline does not mean abuse in any form, okay? It means putting structure, giving guidance, giving direction. That's what we mean by discipline. Discipline provides order and structure to life. Here it is. Discipline is not abusive. It's a balance of love and discipline. There must be a healthy balance between love and discipline. That's how the kids begin to know what they should be doing, accomplishing. Grandparents, I tell them, grandparents, you are the secret weapon in keeping families together safe and happy. You are the secret weapon because sometimes our kids are on the streets, they're incarcerated, wherever they're at. You're the secret weapon, parents, grandparents. No child should walk alone in life. Take a hold of your child's hand, of their hand, so they can stay on the right path of life. Again, grandparents raising grandchildren are today's true heroes. I want to thank you for taking the time to listen to us. We want to have a special thanks to Cook Native American Ministry. They're the ones that funded this presentation, and I want to thank you for that. But we do have a new curriculum and training soon coming out. It's called Addressing Family Violence and Abuse. That should be out probably within the next 2 months. Well, follow our websites, and that's a new website. That's a new course we're going to be having. Again, thank you and I don't know how much time we have left for any kind of question. I don't know. We have maybe a few minutes. If anyone want to have any questions, you can type it in to us. If not, thank you, but I'll wait for a few more minutes. In the meantime, I'll just say that I want to, again, thank all of you for taking the time to listen to us. And you that are working in the field of helping others, I want to compliment you for the good work you're doing. And we need good people like you that can help our people.
Elizabeth is asking how we can access the recording and the PowerPoint, and I can send that.
Okay, one of the people wrote in, how can you access or receive the PowerPoint? Can you just email us and Mary will send the PowerPoint to you, and you're welcome to use it. You can have it, that's how you can access it. Any other questions? If no other questions, thank you for listening, and I wish you a good day, okay? Thank you. Again, my name is Al Pooley, and I appreciate the good work that you're doing.
We have.
Wait, one question.
Do you have any tips for grandparents accessing services for their grandchildren who are not near tribal jurisdictions?
Can you ask the question? I can't see it with my glasses.
Yes, we have a question here that says, do you have any tips for grandparents accessing services for grandchildren who are not near tribal jurisdictions?
That's an excellent question. I think that the best thing I can give you right now is call us up. We'll do the best we can to help you and give you some information of where you can go, okay? I think that's the last question, and we'll see you later. Thank you. Bye-bye.